Things you may not know about your spirit guides, part 7. I'm Allie Horner. I'm a psychic medium and a channeler. I have a podcast called Getting Ghosted, an Intuitive Soul Collective podcast, and a Patreon group. So feel free to go and sign up for those or listen into the podcast in the link in the bio. So this one's a big one. And I think people have this belief, and I noticed this kind of going around the woo-woo spiritual communities over the last 10 years, and it seems like it's kind of been dropping off, think flippin' Lord. But people have believed for a long time, I think with some misunderstanding about energy and frequency, that the only way to connect with your loved ones on the other side or to connect with spirit guides is to be in a high frequency, meaning they think you have to be peaceful and happy all the time to connect with your guides. And nothing could be further from the truth. Just think about how many times people have literally had third man syndrome. They're in a really awful car accident, they're terrified, they're in a house fire, something really awful is going on, or there's someone after them, a predatory type of person, and there's some third man syndrome. Just got chills down my back, sorry about that. There's some sort of third man syndrome that comes in, and it's like some person or an angelic presence that says, leave now. Or some person shows up and helps them through the car accident, and then the EMTs come and the person in the accident says, hey, where's that lady that was helping me? Where's that guy that was helping me? And everyone's like, what lady? And it's like, that absolutely was like a guardian angel or a spiritual guide, etc. I have literally been in a bar before and been sitting there and had an odd feeling after someone walked into the bar with one or two other friends. And I literally had a weird feeling and saw one of my guides where the bartenders are across the bar on the other side of the bar, lay his hands down and look at me like this and go, leave now. Pay attention, leave now. And I just went, okay, settled up and left. And so our guides can come in even in the weirdest of situations. So especially in the bar one, I actually had like maybe 2 drinks. I don't really drink very much, but I had like 2 drinks. Still, they were able to contact me with the situation with the person in the accident or in the house fire. They were still able to come in even though they were in an extreme amount of fear. I have had experiences where I've been in a profound amount of grief and still been able to completely clear conduit channel and hear and feel and sense and see my guides. So you do not need to be happy-go-lucky, peaceful, gaslighting the shit out of yourself to make yourself happy all the time in order to contact your guides. I want you to think about how many times you have read or heard about people being visited by loved ones or getting messages from loved ones or angels or guides on the other side right when they needed it most, and it's not always when they're in the best moods. So I just want to mention that because I think this topic's really, really important. Now, that said, if you're constantly depressed and you're constantly down, and I don't want to presume to invalidate anything going on for anyone's very real mental and emotional and physical health needs, but people often believe, like, if I stay in this state, I won't be able to hear my guides. I guarantee you, you'll probably struggle to hear them more on a consistent basis. Doesn't mean that you can't though, and it doesn't mean that they're not still trying to help you or work with you. If you are experiencing a ton of anger, I've even been in extreme situations like where I was just absolutely like rage filled, and my guides still came in and I could still feel a hand on my shoulder like, okay, take a breath. And they won't gaslight you out of that feeling. They will help you from where you're at, but you have to be willing. And that's the difference that I've noticed is usually for people that believe in these types of things, it's sometimes those moments that bring you to your knees where our guides in spirit, God, Allah, Buddha, Krishna, the Jesus, the universe, I don't care what you call it. Sometimes those are the moments when they come in the most, is when we're in a moment where we're so upset or we're so angry or we're so scared that it's almost like this perfect circle of fear where we're like trying so hard to get away from it, and we come right back up to the connection point where our guides can come in and help. So I wanted to mention that. Now, however, I have noticed when people have a ton of anxiety or a ton of fear, they can misinterpret messages. So that's the difference that I've seen, is when someone is really angry or really scared or constant anxiety and their mind is really busy and really going, often they tend to misinterpret messages from their guides. And when I give them them readings, they tend to misinterpret messages from me. They also tend to misinterpret a lot of things. Like there's been statistics and research proving that people have really bad anxiety and depression misinterpret other people's facial expressions. That person might have a completely neutral face or be smiling at them and saying, hey, how are you? Long time no see. And they're so glad to see them. And the other person will think like, this person hates me. Look at their face. And that has to do with how your brain is operating in that moment. So that can happen, and often that's why people will say, hey, if you're really struggling or really struggling with fear, anxiety, anger, etc., it might not be a good idea to try and connect with the other side. It's not so much letting in negative stuff. However, you can be on a wavelength where you can pick up on other people's icky energy more, which I've noticed, and we'll talk about that in the upcoming masterclass.